ABC 6 News 11 at 11 starts right now.
First tonight at 11, we are tracking severe weather moving right across the area. Let's get right over to Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Benson joining us live in the Weather Center. Jeff, what are we looking at?
Well, guys, we have a developing situation, a rapidly developing situation here over our beautiful capital city of Providence. A destructive severe thunderstorm warning has been issued by the National Weather Service. This takes the normal alert that they would issue and sort of upgrades it. They add this tag, this destructive tag, and that's when you really need to take this situation seriously. You can see it indicated by this purple box here. Obviously, pretty much all of our area right now is in a severe thunderstorm warning situation, but the destructive box, that's the really serious situation right now. You've got this torrential line of rain that's coming down right through the city right now, up towards Woonsocket, down towards Warwick. TF Green Airport probably going to have some sort of flight hold for any remaining flights that are going out tonight. I know it's getting late, but you still could have some trickling out, trickling in. That's going to be a big problem there. Lots of lightning, of course, as well. This goes through 11:45, by the way, and we're going to throw the velocity on here. We typically use this as a good way to indicate rotating thunderstorms and potential incoming outbound and inbound winds that could show you a potential rotation. But what we were able to pick up here, and I wasn't able to throw a little annotation on here, but this little dark green right here is indicative of 50 to 60 mile per hour gate-to-gate winds that we were picking up here on our velocity sweep. Now, we're not getting much in the way of any storm reports here in Rhode Island yet. They take a little bit to trickle in. Please whip out your phone if you can safely do so from the safety of your home, and let us know what you're seeing in your neck of the woods. If you have any storm reports, if you've seen some hail, there have been some small hail reports with this as well. But if you had any wind damage, if you saw something fly around outside, we'd love to know what's happening in your neck of the woods, and you can be our eyes on the ground right now. Again, nocturnal events are very difficult for this exact reason. You can't really see what's going on. Poorly lit conditions, obviously, even in the brightest of city areas with a lot of lights around. It can be very difficult to know what's going to happen or has happened until we get to tomorrow morning. So right now we're looking at wind gusts that did come about from this same severe warning cell over in Danielson in Connecticut, just over the border, 75 mile per hour wind gusts. Bradley Airport, just north of Hartford, nearly an 80 mile per hour wind gust, just shy of that. And you can see all of these little icons here, all indicating wind damage, and they go way back behind this. So these have been really filtering in here over the last hour or so, as this is a very fast moving line of storms. That's why they got up on us really, really quickly here. And again, we talked about this earlier this evening, how when you have fast moving storms, a lot of times the steering of those storms, those jet stream winds that are way up in the atmosphere and go really, really fast, they mix all the way down to the surface level, and that's when you get those straight line wind events, in some cases microbursts, things like that. We had that training little line of thunderstorms up towards Boston, right along the Mass Pike, between about Boston and Worcester earlier, and that led to a lot of flash flooding. But look at all the wind and hail reports that go all the way back here down through New York City into New Jersey and Pennsylvania. We'll have much more on this situation coming up in a little bit. We want to send it back to the desk now.
All right, Jeff, thank you. We're also tracking breaking news tonight out of Providence. Providence police investigating a stabbing this evening. It happened right outside the Walgreens on Academy Ave. This is video from the scene posted to our Now Local News app. Police had the crime scene tape up across the street from the store. Officials have not released any specifics about a victim or any suspects at this point. As soon as we learn more information, we'll update you on all of our news platforms. Now to the NBA draft, which you watched tonight on ABC 6. Years of hard work paying off tonight for former PC star Devin Carter. He was picked by the Sacramento Kings. Thanks for joining us. I'm John DeLuca.
And I'm Tiffany Murphy. Carter was picked number 13 overall in tonight's draft. ABC 6 Sports Director Nick Coit joins us live in the newsroom with reaction to Devin Carter being picked in the draft. Nick?
Yeah, guys, a lot to celebrate in these parts tonight with the NBA draft. Multiple local connections to look out for right here on ABC 6, so fun to watch, of course. And it started in the top 14, the lottery picks, and PC's big star having his dream come true. Devin Carter, the Big East Player of the Year in 2024, the guy who led the Friars this past winter, selected by the Sacramento Kings at number 13 overall in the first round. Carter becoming the 12th player in Providence program history to be picked in the first round, the first since Chris Dunn in 2016. Carter had his family on the floor at Barclays Center, had friends as well to celebrate with him, and his head coach of Providence, Kim English, was there as well. The PC leader reacting after the selection to Carter, headed to the Kings.
I went right to Devin, and seeing the look on his face when he realized that, step one of his dream had been true, and watching him share that moment with his family, his father, his family, his agency. That's what it's all about. That's all we want as coaches, is for our guys to achieve their wildest dreams.
Certainly did that. Now our Ian Steele is in Brooklyn. He's been there covering the draft tonight for us. He speaks one-on-one with the newest member of the Sacramento Kings, Devin Carter. We've got that and more, including what the Celtics just did at the end of the first round. That's later in the Sportscast. For now, live in the newsroom, I'm Nick Coit, ABC 6 Sports. Guys.
All right, Nick, thank you. We'll see you in just a bit. Let's get back now to that severe weather that Jeff is busy tracking in the Weather Center. Jeff, what do you have?
Well, John, we have had a tornado warning that has been issued here just north of Providence, including Pawtucket, many populous areas here in northern Providence County, north of the city. And that tornado warning does go until midnight. And you can see the polygon here does also extend into Bristol County here, Attleboro, right smack in the middle of this path here. Now, I can tell you this, and I'm trying to get some clarification from the Weather Center. I don't see a lot of rotation right now. I'm seeing some of these bright greens. What you're looking for, and we just actually talked about this, you're looking for some of the bright greens, and you would look for some of those reds in what we would call a couplet. You'd see a little bit of a notch, a little green ball and a little red ball like this, and that's your indication of a funnel cloud that has touched down and become officially a tornado. So again, I'm not seeing that yet, but you have to take this warning for what it is. If you were in this box right now, and I'm going to try to go through some more cities on there, but if you were in this red polygon box, again, Pawtucket, it looks like Cumberland, southern Cumberland is in on this as well, getting into Attleboro, over into the Rehoboth area. Well, it's just south, it's just north of Rehoboth, but this is certainly a portion of areas here right along, what is that? These are really tiny here. This is 118, there in Rehoboth, just north of 44 there. Anywhere in this polygon, you want to seek shelter immediately, and we're going to talk about where you can go. Again, you have a little bit of time if you're in Massachusetts before the center of this storm, which is, again, right here in this dark, or I shouldn't say dark, it's a light green, but a deep green right here. And it looks like it's traveling in this direction right here. We're going to get some details from the Weather Service right now with this tornado warned cell. Again, tornado warning for parts of Providence and Bristol counties until midnight. This cell, which was initially located over Lincoln, and now tracking towards, again, Cumberland and moving east. It's a fast mover. It's moving east at 55 miles per hour. When we gave you those tornado warnings last year, they were moving a lot slower than this. So this is going to bear down on you in a hurry. So you have to absolutely act quickly and take this as seriously as you would take any type of weather warning that you would ever get. And my phone went off. A lot of phones went off. I'm hoping a lot of yours did as well, especially at this late hour. You need them to wake you up, and you need to take immediate action. So when we're talking tornado safety, we don't want to be in an exterior room of the house, a bedroom or garage, anything that touches an outside wall. We want to put as many walls between us and the outside as possible. So a hallway, a staircase, a closet, something without windows. A bathroom, yes, it may have windows, but you have the tub option there to get down, and that gives you an extra layer of protection. You do not want to be outside, needless to say, and you can take it a step further. You cover yourself with blankets, you can cover yourself with a mattress, but above all, if you have a basement, that is bar none the safest place for you to be. So again, please seek shelter immediately. Again, I'm looking at the velocity right here. I'm seeing more in the way of straight line winds. Nothing has really caught my eye yet as far as rotation goes. And look, by the way, I drew that circle, a couple of minutes ago? Already, the part of the storm that we're watching is well out ahead of that. So again, this thing is booking. It's moving at 55 miles an hour due east. Now it's on top of Attleboro right here. So again, this is not, to me, from what I'm seeing, this is not indicative of a tornado threat. It's more indicative of a straight line wind threat. But in either case, you need to seek shelter immediately. Flying debris is of paramount concern here. Anything that could go through a window, a sharp object, even a tree branch. I mean, we're not talking about an EF5 here or anything like that crazy that you would see down south where you'd see 100-mile-per-hour winds, tree branches going through walls of houses here. But, you know, anything could blow in, anything could blow down on a house. Trees coming down, that's a big concern right now. Obviously, power lines, that's something, you know, once the storm passes, that will become an issue, especially with the mild weather that we've been having and the humid weather. But that we put that on the back burner for right now. Again, tornado warning until midnight. Right now, looks like the center of this storm is over Attleboro and tracking east at 55 miles per hour. We're going to bring the desk in here for a second, but I do want to just track this out for you, given the parameters of the storm. So we're gonna input 55 miles per hour on this storm here, and if it continues at that pace, it is 11:32 right now, and this goes through midnight. So let's track this out for about say half an hour or so. Again, it is moving really, really quickly right now. So over the next 5 minutes in the Norton area, Taunton at 11:42, Bridgewater 11:49, Middleborough 11:53, and Hanson at 11:56. Again, assuming that this warning is not allowed to expire before then. But again, we're looking at the storm velocity here. I'm still not seeing anything that is super indicative of a rotating thunderstorm right here. Going to throw some of my storm tracks on. Yes, so what you're seeing here with this little yellow circle, this is indicative of some sort of rotation in the atmosphere. And that could be why we're getting the tornado warning. But as far as on the ground level, I mean, you know, again, this is such a dangerous, we talk nocturnal events, so much more of a dangerous situation than a daytime event because you cannot see it coming, rain wrapped or not. And I'm sure these storms are all rain wrapped. Lots of heavy rain there. We're actually going to go away from the velocity so you can see that rain right now. Looks like Providence sort of starting to wrap up here, and I apologize if the graphics are chugging along here. A lot of data coming through the channels right now, so we're doing the best we can. So there's that tornado warning. Still a severe thunderstorm cell, Providence included in that. But I can tell you right now, if you're in Providence, Pawtucket, anywhere in Rhode Island, you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief here because the center and the brunt of this storm is clearly out ahead of you right now. So again, if you're watching this in Rhode Island, take a preemptive sigh of relief here. Cautiously optimistic that the worst has come through at this point. Again, our sites now, and there we have it. They just trimmed off that portion of the tornado warning that was initially starting in Rhode Island because this storm again is moving so very fast right now. Again, tornado warning. If you're just joining us, good evening, everybody, and please stay safe out there. Again, Rhode Island. Looks like we're in the clear at this point across all facets of the state. We still have that considerable tag on this severe thunderstorm warning. It was the tornado warning that cropped up here recently. Gonna take a beat again, guys, because I don't see anything. If there's anything, please chime in that you see at the desk that you think would be pertinent information here. I'm not seeing anything super indicative of ground rotation at this point, which is really good news. Really good news. There's definitely been some sort of rotation in the atmosphere, something to prompt the Weather Service to issue this. I still have not gotten any storm reports into our system for Rhode Island, but again, we had that wind gust report, 75 mile per hour in Danielson, corrects the previous thunderstorm wind gust report from a few minutes ago, and the time was estimated about 10:55. Tiffany,
and Jeff,
you have something.
Right, as you're showing us that map of where this storm has come from, I'm on Rhode Island Energy's website right now, which shows a number of power outages, not crazy numbers at this hour, but it is in the same span of where you just showed that storm did pass through. A couple power outages right now in Pawtucket, but that is it as of this moment.
Yeah, these storms, even though they're pretty much overspreading the entire area, they still can be very spotty and isolated in terms of a tree down, a power line down. So we may have, neighborhoods where a block here doesn't have power, a block here does have power. Certainly possible. And again, this is not coming at a great time of year. It's never a good time of year to have to deal with something like this. But being how warm and humid it's been and how uncomfortable, the fact that some people may not be able to have the AC, not just for tonight, but going forward here. Fortunately, we do have some cooler weather in the cards for later this week. So these are, again, our storm reports. I would expect, again, these trickle in after the event has happened. So I would expect we're going to start to see some here in Rhode Island right now. Again, we're just showing you the ones that we have right over the border into Connecticut. You also have to consider that a lot of people are sleeping. So we may be getting less reports for that reason. Again, if we zoom this out here, just give me 1 second here. If we zoom this out here, you're going to see all the reports back to the west. But these were all happening, between 5 and 8, 5 and 9 o'clock. Some of these even earlier than that, probably as early as like 3 or 4 o'clock across central PA. So they have had, lots of daylight time and, non-overnight time for these reports to come in. All right, we've finally got one here. It looks like this is over maybe Gloucester, Burville. Yeah, there we go, right in between those. So we're going to take a look at what this is right here. So this is a few trees down, one for Route 44 at Door Drive and Indian Trail, and this was estimated about 20 minutes ago. So there you go. That's it right there. It's typically a 15 to 20 minute lag time from when these reports get sent in, verified by the Weather Service, and hit our weather computers. So again, some trees down in the Gloucester area right now. Again, Tiffany, if you just are joining us, has reported that Rhode Island Energy has reported some power outages in the Pawtucket area, and very easy to see why these storms were producing 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts on radar. We still do have the tornado warning. We're going to go back to the velocity scan right now. And again, just give it a second here to load on in. Again, we still have that early rotation low in the atmosphere. You're getting an interesting look at a phenomenon right now, guys, called the cone of silence. So when the radar, when a storm of any capacity gets over the radar, you're going to get this just dead zone of circle right here. So anything happening right around in that radius of the radar, we will not be able to verify anything until it moves out of there. So a little bit unlucky to have the tornado warning go right through that. But again, even looking outside of the radar, this is, again, kind of radar meteorology 101 here. So when you have the green coloring on our storm velocity graphic, that's the winds going towards the radar site. And now, I did tell you, you're looking for green and red coming together, but this is a different scenario here. Because now you've come up upon the radar beam, and the winds are still going in the same direction. They're going away from the radar site. So again, nothing really catching my eye that would indicate ground rotation and maybe a funnel cloud or tornado on the ground at this point. It still looks to me like the overwhelming majority of this is going to be straight line wind damage. Of course, if there's enough damage, we'll get the survey teams out probably as early as tomorrow to verify the things that I'm saying right now. But again, we're coming into a little bit of a sticky situation here with the cone of silence. That is when the radar is not able to actually pick up anything right on top of it in that, say, mile or so radius around the radar site right here. But again, green towards, red away. Those arrows are going in the same direction, right? They're not rotating. If we were to say get, what we look for again as a little couplet. I'll try to draw here while not going off this graphic. Please pardon my artistic skills. But if you were to get a little green area right here, you see where I'm drawing right there, just south of Norton, and then you were to get a little red area right next to it, that is a sign for worry, because then that means you have the winds coming one way and the winds going the other way, and that then is your indication. I kind of drew that the wrong way. I think it meant like that. But that gives you your rotation. I think you get the picture there. So, all right, we are still in a tornado warning through midnight. No indication that this is going to be extended, allowed to expire one way or the other. Checking the Weather Service channels right now. I do not have any updated information to give you on that. Guys, anything that you're seeing new information-wise over at the desk?
Well, I was just going to ask you again, I think for the average viewer, we aren't weather-trained spotters here, and we know that a tornado is such when, it touches down on the ground. But when folks wake up in the morning and they have down trees, potentially down power lines, and they see potential destruction, they think, oh, a tornado absolutely went through here. But those straight line winds can reach well over 100 miles per hour, right? So we're waiting for rotation to see.
Yes. Yeah. And obviously you're going to be able to, I mean, it won't take, a highly trained National Weather Service storm team, survey team to be able to tell. I mean, if you go outside tomorrow and the sun's going to be out at some point, you survey your yard, you go look around. If you see trees all facing in one direction, that's an indication of straight line winds. When you would see a tree this way, a tree that way, that's your rotation. And that's how you might be able to say, I think this might have been a tornadic event. But I really have to say, I haven't seen anything that's really pointing me in that direction at this point. This seems like a mainly straight line event. You would then say, well, why a tornado warning being issued then? And what I would tell you is that there was definitely some rotation in the lower levels of the atmosphere. That may have been enough to prompt the Weather Service to issue this warning here. So again, just to bring you up to speed, if you're just joining us here, it looks like the center of this, I would assume they're going to trim this little area off pretty shortly here, because right now, this is the area that we are watching. So again, also moving right over the Weather Service. This is not something you see every day here. You lose a little bit of data in that, what we call, again, a cone of silence here. The radar shoots the beams out in all directions, but it can't go that vertical. So obviously, if you're going on top of the weather site, it's going to lose an area of data that you will be sort of blind to here. But again, even before it reached that cone of silence, we were looking pretty straight line to me. I would think that this is going to be allowed to expire. Again, I don't have a team with me over at the Weather Service like they do, and I'm sure they're working very, very hard right now to keep everybody safe. But I would think, unless I see something new here in the next 5 minutes, that they're probably going to let this expire, or maybe even cancel it early before we do get to midnight. And wow, talk about good timing there. Bye-bye. We say goodbye to the tornado warning. I completely agree with that decision. Again, there was nothing that was super indicative of rotation. This looks like a purely straight line wind event. I think it may have been a precautionary situation with that lower level atmosphere rotation, and that maybe a funnel cloud could drop down, touch the ground, and become a tornado. So that's great news, guys. Great news for everybody that was out ahead of that storm. It is still a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag here, which means there still could be considerable winds. I would guess probably in the 50 to 60 mile per hour range, maybe upwards of 70. Not looking at the 80 mile per hour, what I was looking at on velocity anyway, not looking nearly that high at this point, and that could be a sign that the storm is weakening, fortunately. So let's take a beat from weather, send it back to you guys. I know you guys have a lot of stuff to talk about, and we'll possibly rejoin you in a few minutes.
I did want to ask you, Jeff, two things. One, how strong did you say those winds are that are moving across? I know you're estimating ballpark, and also how quickly is that storm moving across the area? The
storm was moving around 55 miles an hour east. Very, very fast moving storm here. And again, the movement of the storm, you would say, well, the winds in it are not strictly related to the movement, right? But that's not exactly true. A lot of times they exacerbate the movement. They're the jet stream steering winds up in the atmosphere. They mix down to the surface, and you can get that extra acceleration of the winds at the ground level. What we were seeing across eastern Connecticut and moving into Rhode Island were 75 to nearly 80 mile per hour winds. I have not seen anything that strong as it moved across Providence County and into Bristol County. And as we say that, they have dropped the considerable tag from the severe thunderstorm warning. So further good news that the storm may be weakening, and maybe we're not seeing the level of winds anymore that we were a little bit earlier.
Well, that is good news. All right, Jeff, catch your breath. We're going to show some video that just came into our ABC6 newsroom, to our Now Local News app from downtown Providence tonight, showing the heavy rain that moves through. Jeff detailed really well for us, showing all those bright colors, and those mean this is what we get. You can see, Tiff, how strong the winds are coming through, and certainly the amount of rain is pretty intense.
And this is obviously a reason why a few thousand customers in the state of Rhode Island right now are without power, some little over 5,000 right now. We're checking on power outages throughout the state of Massachusetts.
And Tiff, of those that have lost power, did you say the majority are in one particular place?
We have about 15,000 in West Cranston.
15,000?
1,500, I'm sorry.
1,500,
okay. Just over 1,500.
Western Cranston, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's look. I'm zooming in on the map as we speak. And then they're just sporadic
Okay.
around just north of Lincoln, Valley Falls.
All right. Anyway, this is video posted to our Now Local News app. If you can safely do so and from the confines of your home, please shoot your camera outside and take a shot and let us know what's happening in your area.